Okay. Hello, this is Voss, and I helped produce the song Time by Ladam, and I'm here to go kind of over some of the production things which were inside of Ladam and inside of Time, sorry, and kind of go over my interpretation of the song and how we kind of made it pop into a radio ready song instead of a bunch of instruments played by great musicians, but still not quite ready to hit the charts, which of course this song did. So I guess a good place to start would be mentioning the drums. Now, the instruments for this song were all recorded at the same time in the same room, which was abandoned a long time ago for one reason. You can hear other instruments inside of the inside of places where you really don't want that. Now, I've gone through and done some magic to make sure that those instruments aren't too present in the final mix, and the way I've done that is by going over it with a drum sampling software. So, before anyone gets freaked out, Dylan's performance is on this song. This is all Dylan, right? What you're hearing is completely Dylan. The only thing which I've done is I've taken the drums which they recorded on the day, which didn't sound that great, and I've put Dylan's performance on a kit which sounds amazing. So it's nothing on Dylan, it's just simply the fact that they were recording on a budget and it kind of needs to go over. Now, that being said, this is only a 50% blend, so 50% of the original drum sounds are there. It's just the other 50 is Superior Drummer. Cool. So now that's out of the way. Guitar. Kind of has a weird background hiss, which is my fault, not Matt's. Matt is a guitarist, and he is a fantastic guitarist, one of my favourites on planet Earth. So this is how the guitar sounds raw. So it's kind of the first thing which I realised it was very boomy. It's kind of a lot going on down in this end, so I took out quite a lot of it and ended up with this. So very kind of flat sounding, so just a compressor to kind of bring the lows higher and the highs lower, kind of squeeze everything together. And then onto the bit which actually matters. Plini, which is a plugin by Neural DSP, and it is amazing. And basically what it does is it runs the guitar signal through an amplifier like you would have on a stage inside of a production software virtually. So it's not a real amp, but it sounds damn good. And this is without the amp. And then this is with. So I think what I've done here is I've kind of taken the original preset which somebody made and just heavily modified it. And that can be seen quite clearly by the weirdly placed knobs because they are recorded with an amp on the day. This is going through a gain knob which just makes it louder. And then finally through an EQ just to kind of clean things up. Oh, and I have to mention, by the way, this isn't the final mix for Time. I forgot to mention. This isn't how the finished song sounds. I actually did another mix for this, which was then used, but this is basically all the same stuff, just kind of I messed around a bit and made it sound better. But it was very minor stuff. While on the topic of guitar, I might as well go through the end solo. Once again, fantastically played. That is not the solo. Here it is. Solo. Okay. And then right, okay. Alright, so once again, Plini. And yeah, going through a very heavy reverb. and no amp. By the looks of it, I was quite literally just using the reverb from Plini, which is fair enough. So without. And with. Right, so then an EQ. Looks like I just took out a whole bunch of low end. Which to be fair, I probably undid in the the final mix, but oh well. There's also a piano track here, which is in mono, which is what we love to see. So to make it sound less mono-y, I made a reverb, which is kind of very mental looking, but it's pretty simple really. Got rid of a lot of low end, got rid of some low kind of mids, boomy area. The kind of mids I boosted a little bit, make it a bit more kind of in your face. I got rid of the decay in the middle here on the high mids to kind of get rid of some sizzly frequencies, and once again in the highs, get rid of some of that fizz, one might say. So that's that. Bass, Jesus, bass, right, which is titled Baz for some reason, is using Neural DSP's Cory Wong, and it's the Crusher bass amp, and it's great. So this is the raw track. And then with the amp. And that's that. Then what else is there? There's the vocals, of course. Vocals is here. Probably the most intricate part of any song is vocals, and of course drums. This is how it sounds raw.
Didn't get to say how I really felt, living with the sins and the pain I dealt, just a phone.
And then one EQ, make it brighter.
Didn't get to say how
It sounds like I boosted the gain. You can kind of hear here, like it goes up and down a lot in volume a lot, which I'm guessing is down to the vocalist moving a lot. I'm not sure, but it goes up and down in volume a ton over the song. So to basically stop that from happening, I put a compressor on. I made the loud parts quieter and the quiet parts louder. Squished it all together.
didn't get to say how I really felt.
Which kind of deals with that inconsistency, and then an EQ here, just to make it a little bit kind of more present, I guess. It looks like.
Didn't get to say how I really felt.
And then a reverb, which is possibly the most important part of vocals, in my opinion. I'm going to add the de-esser, which I'll explain in a second, just to save our ears. And yeah.
Didn't get to say how I really felt.
And then this is a de-esser, which basically the frequencies get squished down whenever they become too loud. It saves your ears from bleeding. And then for some reason I turned it down 0.12 12 decibels. Whatever. So that's basically it, I think. Guitar solo. I'm gonna go over the drums mixing now. Yeah. Okay. There's also some harmonies here.
Time after time.
So yeah, this is a bit strange. Basically, this is the raw.
Time after time.
And there is an EQ which is doing literally nothing. Wow. How efficient. A compressor, I already explained what that does. A gate, so that when he stops speaking, there's no background noise. And then there's this, which is a stereo imager by Waves. So there's a reverb as well. Basically, the stereo imager makes it sound wider. So without the stereo imager,
Time after time.
and then with,
Time after time.
super subtle, but it's there, and you can tell in the mix. some things which I added, which I wasn't told to add, but I did add. Obviously, it was all the drums. Just to go over what drums were used really quickly. Ludwig 400 from 1959. So quite an old snare, but I just love how kind of snappy it is. Also, I recently used this on a metal mix, and so it's incredibly versatile as well. And this is a Premier weird name, and I use that for the toms as well, apart from this one, which is a Pearl Masterworks. Best drum company, prove me wrong. I think everything here. No. So we've got a different array of weird symbols put together. It's mostly Zildjian K. Yeah, mostly Zildjian K. There's a paper thin, there's a masterwork, and there is a dark crash. Zildjian K hi-hats as well. And those are the drums there. There's a transient shaper on the kick and the sub of the kick. Might need to solo the drums. Right. And that basically makes the sub of the kick kind of more punchy. And same with the snare bottom, which I didn't end up using anyway, so I don't know why that's there. But it is. So, Jesus Christ. This is, once again, the early mix version. I don't have the final mix, but if I do find it, then I will share the project file so people can look at it themselves. This kind of clicky area on the kick is really underrated. So basically, I've just kind of boosted it a lot to make it kind of more clicky and instead of like a low end rumble in the mix. It kind of slaps you in the ears every single time you hear it in a subtle way, right? So without the EQ, and then with, it just makes it more punchy really. Then another EQ. This is probably the most drastic thing, maybe beside the vocals on the entire track. Yeah. So these toms are completely the raw toms from the day, so they don't sound that great. This is the snare from the day, okay. No, this is the snare from the real thing, I can tell. So this is the snare EQ. Sorry. For some reason it's titled Kick Out. Yeah, so basically what's happening here is I'm using the Superior drum snare, and the only thing which actually needs to happen is to turn down the frequencies from the kick, which you can hear in the background, because it's just going ooh, ooh, kind of in the background, you can hear it. Right, so without the EQ. Right, and with. And then there's a compressor, a very fancy one, Jesus Christ, a very fancy compressor here, which is kind of, well, basically what it's doing by the looks of it is it's kind of adding more attack, but then also bringing up the kind of tail of the snare, so it's kind of this V shape, kind of whoosh kind of thing. So without, and then with. You can kind of hear that the reverb gets louder, kind of on the tail side. Toms. Okay, just making it brighter there. Overheads. Compressing the shit out of the overheads because the snare was too loud. And basically, the snare was way too much in the top mics, which go over the drums to capture the cymbals. There wasn't enough cymbals, there was too much snare. So obviously, because a snare is a thing which pokes out, you can just kind of slap a compressor on it and tell it to shut up. So you can kind of hear how that works without it. And then with it, kind of squishing everything together. This is a metal technique, but it works wonders here too. And then it looks like I'm just kind of boosting the low mids. I'd imagine for punch reasons. There's a singular EQ on the ambient mics, which is the room. Not the room recorded, but the room from Superior Drummer. A room mic was not recorded on the day. So you can kind of hear how here. So this is everything from Superior Drummer in one channel on the ambience mics. So I didn't end up replacing some of the cymbals, but I ended up replacing everything that isn't on this track, basically. So this is the instruments which are in the original. Right, and then just the Superior Drummer instruments. So it's not that much which is being added by Superior Drummer. It's kick, snare, and cymbal. The crash cymbal, that is, the singular cymbal. So there's, just a couple of things. And on that there is a EQ, and it's basically boosting the high frequencies and the mid frequencies a little bit too. So now it's time for the reverb. The reverb is going to the snare, the ambience, the overheads, and that is it. And the ambience mics just basically is a reverb for the drums. And yeah, I think that's it. Of course, there are strings on this song, which I added, and I added the patch from Session Strings Pro, and these are some of my favorite libraries. Give you a quick tour. There you go. And yeah, so let's solo these. And then you go into the second verse, and it repeats again. And then on the solo here is when things get super funky chunky. And then, at the very end here, basically, I added a little string just at the end, because otherwise the song cuts off randomly here for some reason. I guess they just stopped pressing recording, or they stopped the recording, and there was still volume going on, so it just kind of sounds like it goes boom. So I added a string with a reverb, and it kind of carries the song on for a little bit. Right, and then this is with the strings at the end. Just sounds a hell of a lot more natural. So, I do believe that's it. Trying to think if there's anything else. I did also add piano in the final product, but I don't have that VST anymore, so I can't show it because I deleted it. Oops. Yeah, that's it. I want to say a big props to the band for this amazing song, and for the opportunity to work on it. Was a highlight in my producing career. So it was a great old time, and I can't wait to do it again. Hint, 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 nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So yeah, that's it from me. And I will bye. See ya. Bye.